Withdrawal.
Withdrawal.
The withdrawal of UN forces.
The Russian withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Large-scale troop withdrawals.
Withdrawal of government aid.
Customers can use the machine to make withdrawals of up to £250 a day.
Germany's withdrawal from the talks.
The withdrawal of all allegations.
Withdrawal symptoms.
Withdrawal symptoms.
Withdrawn.
Withdrawn.
After his wife's death, he became more and more withdrawn.
Wither.
Wither.
His career had withered. The organization just withered away. The government has allowed the program to wither on the vine by reducing its funding.
Withered.
Withered.
Withering. Withering.
Withers.
Withers.
Withhold.
Withhold.
I withheld payment until they had completed the work. Ian was accused of withholding vital information from the police.
Withholding tax.
Withholding tax.
Within.
Within.
We should have the test results back within 24 hours.
He fell sick and died within a matter of weeks.
Within an hour of our arrival, Caroline was starting to complain.
The enormous success of televised sport within the last 20 years.
Within the space of a year, 3 of the town's factories have closed down.
The invading troops came within 50 miles of Paris.
Within a 5-mile radius of Ullerton, there are several pubs and restaurants.
We live within easy reach of the shops.
Adjust the driver's seat so that all the controls are within reach.
As she came within sight of the house, she saw 2 men getting out of a car. Prisoners who died were buried within the walls of the prison.
Public footpaths within the national park.
The rooms within were richly furnished.
Baby rabbits for sale. Inquire within.
There have been a lot of changes within the department since I joined.
An attempt to reform the system from within. We have to operate within a very tight budget.
Private security firms have to work strictly within the law.
You can go anywhere you want within reason. Elaine felt a pain deep within her.
I'm feeling more relaxed within myself.
With it.
With it.
Without.
Without.
After the storm, we were without electricity for 5 days.
A house without a garden.
We passed 2 ruined abbeys, one with a tower and one without.
I'm getting used to managing without a car.
Suddenly, and without any warning, the army opened fire.
He had gone out without his parents' permission.
I accepted his offer without a moment's hesitation.
I got to my destination without too much difficulty.
What do you expect? He said, without looking at her. Without so much as a word of thanks, Ben turned and went back into the office.
He told his story without anger or bitterness.
I don't know what I'd do without you. Won't you be lonely without her?
The rest of the group set off without him.
Without wanting to sound too boastful, I think we have the best television programs in the world.
Withstand.
Withstand.
This fabric can withstand steam and high temperatures.
The Chancellor has withstood the criticism and held firm.
Witless.
Witless.
Witness.
Witness.
Police have appealed for witnesses to come forward.
One witness to the accident said the driver appeared to be drunk.
An eyewitness to the robbery. The key witness in the case against the brothers.
The defence is expected to call them as witnesses.
A witness to a will. We were witness to the worst excesses of the military. A witness to a will. We were witness to the worst excesses of the military.
Several residents claim to have witnessed the attack.
Priests have witnessed an increase in religious intolerance. Recent years have witnessed the collapse of the steel industry. Will you witness my signature?
Bad economic times can result in political dictatorships. Witness Germany in the 1930s.
Witness box.
Witness box.
Witter.
Witter.
I'm sick of her wittering on about her boyfriend. Witticism.
Witticism.
Witty.
Witty.
Witty remarks.
Laura's very witty.
Wives.
Wives.
Wizard.
Wizard.
A financial wizard.
Ben's a real wizard at chess.
Wizardry.
Wizardry.
High-speed internet connections and other technical wizardry. Wizened.
Wizened.
WMD. WMD.
Wobble.
Wobble.
The pile of bricks wobbled and fell.
Tom stopped, wobbling from the weight of his load.
Cindy wobbled along the street on her bike.
The president appeared to wobble over sending the troops in.
Wobbly.
Wobbly.
A wobbly table. The meeting yesterday got off to a wobbly start.
Wodge.
Wodge.
A wodge of £10 notes. Woe.
Woe.
The country's economic woes.
Woe betide anyone who smokes in our house.
Woebegone.
Woebegone.
Her woe-begone expression.
Woeful.
Woeful.
A woeful lack of information.
Woeful eyes.
Woefully inadequate facilities.
Wog.
Wog.
Walk.
Walk.
Woke.
Woke.
Woken.
Woken.
Wolds.
Wolds.
The Lincolnshire Wolds.
Wolf.
Wolf.
A pack of wolves. I work part-time in a coffee shop just to keep the wolf from the door.
A wolfish grin.
Wolfhound.
Wolfhound.
Wolf whistle.
Wolf whistle.
Wolves.
Wolves.
Woman.
Woman. I was talking to a woman I met on the flight.
Married women.
A popular women's magazine.
When a woman is pregnant, the levels of hormones in her body change. Ireland's first woman president. Women artists.
A woman's work is never done.
Congresswoman Ellen Tauscher. I'm sure he's got another woman.
Did he bring his new woman with him?
Womanhood.
Womanhood.
Womanish.
Womanish.
Womanizer.
Womanizer.
Womankind.
Womankind.
Womanly.
Womanly.
Her soft, womanly figure.
Womb.
Womb.
Wombat.
Wombat.
Women.
Women.
Womenfolk.
Womenfolk.
Women's lib.
Women's lib.
Women's movement.
Women's movement.
Women's room.
Women's room.
Women's studies.
Women's studies.
The Women's Institute.
The Women's Institute.
One.
One.
Wonder.
Wonder.
I wonder how James is getting on.
What are they going to do now, I wonder?
I wonder if I'll recognize Philip after all these years.
He's been leaving work early a lot. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? I wonder if I might have a drink.
I was wondering if I could borrow your car.
I was wondering if you'd like to come to dinner. Sometimes I wonder about his behaviour.
I wonder how he dares to show his face.
I don't wonder you're tired. He'll come back soon enough, I shouldn't wonder.
Is she serious? I wonder.
Sometimes I wonder if he's got any sense at all.
The sight of the Taj Mahal filled us with wonder.
Technological wonders.
The 7 wonders of the world.
No wonder you've got a headache. The amount you drank last night.
It's a wonder no one got hurt.
A new wonder drug.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
We had a wonderful time in Spain.
It's wonderful what doctors can do nowadays.
Wonderfully.
Wonderfully.
All of the performers played wonderfully.
A wonderfully rich sauce.
Wonderingly.
Wonderingly.
Wonderland.
Wonderland.
Wonderment.
Wonderment.
Wondrous.
Wondrous.
Wonk. Wonk.
These are issues that would only interest policy wonks.
Wonky.
Wonky.
A wonky table.
Won't.
Want.
He spoke for too long, as is his wont.
Won't.
Won't.
Woo.
Woo.
The party's efforts to woo working-class voters.
Would. Would.
Put some more wood on the fire. A polished wood floor.
Her house was made of wood.
A walk in the woods.
Woodblock.
Woodblock.
Wood carving.
Wood carving.
Woodchuck. Woodchuck.
Woodchuck.
Woodcraft.
Woodcraft.
Woodcut.
Woodcut.
Woodcutter.
Woodcutter.
Wooded.
Wooded.
The wooded hills of northern Virginia.
A thickly wooded area.
Wooden.
Wooden.
A wooden bench.
Wooden spoon.
Wooden spoon.
Woodland.
Woodland.
Woodlouse.
Woodlouse.
Woodpecker.
Woodpecker.
Woodpile.
Woodpile.
Woodpulp.
Woodpulp.
Woodshed.
Woodshed.
Woodsman.
Woodsman.
Woodsy.
Woodsy.
A woodsy smell.
Woodwind.
Woodwind.
Woodwind instruments such as the flute or saxophone.
Woodwork.
Woodwork.
Woodworm.
Woodworm.
Woody.
Woody.
Woof.
Woof.
Wool.
Wool.
A pure wool skirt. A mix of 80% wool and 20% man-made fibres.
A ball of pink wool. Woolen.
Woolen.
A woolen scarf. The woolen industry. A woolen mill.
Woolens.
Woolens.
Woolly.
Woolly.
A woolly hat. He gave a rather woolly argument. You'll need your winter woolies.
Woozy.
Woozy.
Giving blood makes me feel really woozy.
Wop.
Wop.
Word blindness.
Word.
Word.
Write an essay of about 500 words.
What does that word mean?
Vater is the German word for father. Perhaps lucky is not exactly the right word.
Those are his words, not mine.
Jones was, in the judge's words, an evil man.
In your own words, explain the term personal service.
I know the tune, but I've forgotten the words. Many people don't know the words to the country's national anthem.
Could I have a word?
I'll have a word with him and see if he'll help. I was hoping to have a quick word with you.
Could I have a few words with you?
Wait a minute. I want a word with you.
No one could hear a word because someone had cut the amplifier cable.
I can't understand a word of Russian.
He left without a word. I'd like to say a few words about the plans.
It's a beautiful city, but a word of warning. Street robberies are very common.
He left without a word of apology.
Promise you won't say a word to anyone.
What's wrong? You haven't said a word since you got here.
He found it difficult to put ideas into words. I was in a bad mood, and he kept pestering me, so we had words.
Mountain rescue teams have harsh words to say to people who climb without proper equipment.
They were married for 50 years, and she says there was never an angry word between them.
Word came that our duties would be changed.
Have you heard from Anne? No, not a word.
There was still no word from John.
It's a very small town, and if you do something bad, word gets around.
The word is that the two companies are planning a merger. Health officials are encouraging people to spread the word about the benefits of exercise.
The mayor sent word he'd be late.
Word of mouth is one of the best ways of getting business. Much of this information is picked up by word of mouth from previous students.
The final word on policy determination belongs to the committee.
She has the final word on whether policies are put into action or not.
The last word must go to Nick, who has organized the whole project.
Why must you always have the last word in any argument?
Adams had the final word with a last-minute goal.
I trust him to keep his word.
I give you my word that it won't happen again.
They had given their word of honor that they would not attempt to escape.
We only have his word for it that he has already paid. Delors claimed that Johnson had gone back on his word. The business is doing very well. You can take my word for it.
I never know whether to take him at his word. His word is his bond.
The newspaper printed his speech more or less word for word.
We are, in a word, busy. Ridiculously busy.
You have to put everything in words of one syllable for her.
Aunt Faye wasn't happy and said so in as many words.
Will you stop putting words into my mouth? I never said I disliked the job.
On the word go, everyone has to run to the end of the room and back.
When I give the word, grab him.
The marriage was a disaster from the word go.
His behaviour has been too pathetic for words.
If I were you, I'd have a word in his ear before it's too late.
Once George starts talking, it's difficult to get a word in edgeways.
I got the job because Paul put in a good word for me.
Words fail me.
My word, hasn't she grown?
My father was a man of few words.
How can we word the letter so as not to offend the parents?
Word blindness.
Word blindness.
Word cloud. Word cloud.
Worded.
Worded.
A carefully worded question. A strongly worded letter.
Wording.
Wording.
The exact wording of the contract.
Wordless.
Wordless.
A wordless prayer. She threw her arms around him in wordless grief.
She nodded wordlessly.
Word perfect.
Word perfect.
She rehearsed her speech until she was word perfect.
Wordplay.
Wordplay.
Word processor.
Word processor.
Most reports are produced on a word processor.
I mostly use my computer for word processing.
A word process document.
Word search. Word search.
Wordsmith.
Wordsmith.
Wordy.
Wordy.
A wordy explanation.
War.
War.
Work.
Work.
Where do you work? Many young people in the area have never worked.
The injury means he'll probably never work again.
He works for a law firm.
I work at the university.
She works as a consultant for a design company.
The studies were undertaken by people working in education.
I work part-time in a library.
Sally isn't working tomorrow.
Staff will have to get used to a new way of working. One of the women I work with is getting married this weekend. Each site has a fully trained team who work under a site manager.
I get paid more if I work nights.
We're sometimes expected to work 12-hour days.
Are you working late again tonight?
40 police officers are working round the clock to find Murray's killer.
Nowadays, many people are able to work from home.
She's just retired after 38 years working with children.
He has worked among some of the world's poorest people.
I've been working in the garden all afternoon.
I'm going to have to work really hard to pass these exams.
We're working together to develop a new system.
They are working towards a solution to their problems.
We will work for the release of the hostages.
The police are working to provide more help for victims of crime.
The company is working hard to improve its image.
He worked tirelessly for the charity throughout his life.
You should check that the smoke alarm is working properly.
I can't get the heater to work.
My parents can't even work the video. Making a marriage work can take a lot of effort.
I've never found a diet that works.
The recipe works just as well if you use margarine instead of butter. The cream works immediately to relieve sore skin.
You need to find which method works best for you.
A drug that works against some types of cancer.
The arrangement works well for everyone involved.
The French team are the heavier crew, which should work in their favour.
Sexism still works against women in many professions.
Loyalty works both ways. We are loyal to our employees, and in turn, they are loyal to us.
I don't think the scene with the horses really works, do you?
The colour combination just doesn't work for me.
A sculptor who works in steel.
A jeweller who works with silver.
From here, we worked our way carefully across the rock base.
He had worked his way up to head of department. Slowly he worked the screwdriver into the crack.
One of the screws must have worked loose.
Swimming is a form of exercise that works every muscle in your body.
She was trembling and her mouth was working.
Markovitz works the tri-state area.
Binns worked the door at various Manhattan clubs.
She really knew how to work a crowd.
He was left to work the farm alone.
A polish that works a treat on windows.
We're working on the assumption that the conference will take place in Canada as planned. He seemed to be working himself into a rage.
We should try and work it so that we can all go together.
Lynn could show the rest of us how to work the system.
The coach has been working us really hard this week.
People have complained that they are being worked into the ground.
I've worked myself into the ground setting up this interview.
I meditate and do yoga every day. It works for me, and I think it could work for you too.
Gemma looks great as she works the nautical look.
John won't be here on the 15th, so we'll have to work round that.
You'll have to work round to the subject gradually.
Learning a language isn't easy. You have to work at it.
Couples who want to work at improving their relationship.
He managed to work in a few references to his new book.
Here are a few goodies you can work into your daily diet.
Work the butter into the flour.
My schedule's pretty full, but I think I can work you in.
Walking is excellent for working off tension.
I need to go and work off a few of these calories.
She hasn't worked off her debts to me yet.
He has spent the last 2 years working on a book about childcare.
Every weekend, you see him working on his car.
A trainer has been brought in to work on her fitness.
We need to work on ensuring that the children feel safe and confident.
You leave him to me, I'll work on him.
UN negotiators have worked out a set of compromise proposals.
We need to work out how we're going to get there. I had it all worked out.
See if you can work this bill out.
We'll have to work out how much food we'll need for the party.
The plot is very complicated. It'll take you a while to work it out. I'm sure you can work it out for yourself.
The bill works out at £15 each.
If we go by taxi, it's going to work out very expensive.
Things will work out. You'll see.
I hope it all works out for Gina and Andy.
I'm sure everything will work itself out.
Financially, things have worked out well for us.
He works out with weights twice a week.
I couldn't work her out at all.
After someone dies, it can take a long time to work through your grief.
The positive effect on businesses may take up to 3 years to work through.
I'm trying to work up enough courage to go to the dentist.
You can work up a really big thirst playing tennis. You're working yourself up again.
She had worked herself up into a state.
Jack took notes, which he would work up into a report later. He'd been working up to asking her for a date all week.
There isn't a lot of work at this time of the year.
He's been out of work for 2 years. More people are in work than 10 years ago. Do you want to go for a drink after work?
I had an accident on the way to work.
He left work at the usual time.
I went out with the girls from work last night.
Dad's at work right now.
A large part of the work we do involves using computers.
He starts work at 4 a.m.
He started a business doing gardening and roofing work.
Send a resume and examples of your work.
The building is the work of architect Rafael Moneo.
The teacher should make sure that each child has a piece of work displayed on the wall.
The standard of work has declined.
Can you move some of your work off the kitchen table?
I often have to take work home with me.
Can you move some of your work off the kitchen table?
I often have to take work home with me.
The collected works of Shakespeare.
It is another accomplished work by the artist.
Work will start next month on a new swimming pool in the centre of the city.
Looking after children can be hard work.
You should not allow unqualified people to carry out work on your house.
He set to work immediately.
The centre carries out work to monitor trends in housing management.
He did his postgraduate work in sociology.
He spent most of his time watching the fishermen at work.
Volcanoes display some of nature's most powerful forces at work.
The hotel had everything. Sauna, swimming pool, the works.
That was quick work.
Upgrades to the existing software are in the works.
The official in charge of the engineering works.
The brickworks closed last year. All these celebrities have had work done.
The team will have their work cut out if they are to win the competition.
A microwave oven can make light work of the cooking.
They made hard work of what should have been an easy game.
The garden is still very much a work in progress.